Hello and welcome to Reviews. As always, I'm Plume Noir, and as I mentioned in my Fallen Angels #1 review, I just went and saw Joker tonight. I did that video before seeing the movie. I came back to do this, and all I want to do is talk about the Joker. Now, I know I'm 6 weeks too late. I've been kind of busy, but I wanted to catch it before it left theaters, and I am really good about avoiding spoilers. So, at the beginning of the movie, I was getting such a heavy Taxi Driver vibe from it, and that was before I even saw that Robert De Niro was in the movie. And Taxi Driver is one of my all-time favorite movies. So, I absolutely adore that movie. It was so good. So I figured, okay, I'll come home and I'll finally sit down and read Squirrel Girl. I only picked this issue up because it was the last issue. The series is canceled, and I figured, okay, I'm kind of riding on a high of a movie I really enjoyed, even though it's really dark. It's one of those character studies that gives you something to think about. I figured, okay, I enjoyed it. I'm in a good mood. I will read this book, and oh God. I I think it's pretty amazing that they say, only our second 50th issue this year. The fact that this book made it to 50 issues is beyond me. Um, I think I've mentioned I've only read one or two issues in the series and realized it's not for me. And in fact, I've said this about other books already. I don't understand this T rating for teen. This book is not aimed at teens. This book is aimed at, the younger ages, the single digit ages. Nothing wrong with that, which is why I don't cover it. Because I know this isn't, aimed at older readers, people who are teenagers and up. Not saying it has to be all dark and whatever, but this is a silly kid's book. And, I don't feel right ever reviewing those with any type of critical eye because I am so not the target audience. Oh, but this book was so hard to get through, and it really shouldn't be. If it's aimed at a younger audience, it should be a breeze. And I went through and read all the stupid little, supposed to be silly comments at the bottom, you know, and I'll be honest, I got halfway through the book and I stopped, poured myself a glass of wine, and then started over. That was the only way I could get through this book. And as you know, I don't drink very much anymore, so I really needed a glass of wine to just kind of soothe my nerves and get through this. Now, this starts off right in the middle of a story. All the other Marvel books, they love to put that splash page and talk about the character. This one just dives right in. I do kind of appreciate that, but even if it's the last issue, always think that it's someone's first issue. I'm a firm believer in that. And especially when you have all these villains whom I thought this was actually Iron Man here. I mean, why wouldn't you, right? They have the mask on. Um, but it turns out it's not. Um, I don't know how they got to this point, but Galactus shows up and um, Squirrel Girl and her friends are about to be killed by the assembled villains. And by the way, did you know that the person in the Iron Man outfit is a woman? Not that you could tell. I mean, would you look at this and think, oh yeah, that's a woman? Yeah, no, this is someone named Melissa Morbeck. Yeah, no idea. No, that's what I mean about this art. This is aimed at kids. It really is, and oh, it's really bad. But I'm not saying anything you don't know. So I don't even really want to focus much upon the book itself because, as I expected, they even point out they do a Deus Ex Machina with Galactus showing up, and she's all buddies with Squirrel Girl, and they have kind of a heart-to-heart talk. That's basically an allegory for the book being canceled, and he ends up solving all the problems, sending everyone to jail, and taking the stolen Iron Man armor away from everyone. Um, Kind of a cop out, and it tries to sound deep. You know, I remember reading, the Grant Morrison Animal Man series when it came out, and it was not like anything I'd ever read, especially that last issue where Grant Morrison himself came out and addressed, talked directly to Animal Man, um, addressed concerns he had, and things he wanted to do in the book, and that kind of blew my mind. But now we have every book that gets canceled in New Marvel that does this. Um, I felt that Gwenpool, I always go back to Gwenpool, but, she has the comic awareness. She knew her time was coming to an end. And it was done so much better than this. I'm actually going to skip to the end, because, once everything's cleared up, Tony Stark calls Doreen and has her and her friends go to Times Square. Doreen, get to Times Square in half an hour. The others will meet you there. Tell Nancy, Tippy, and Brain Drain to come too. Got a little something for you. So the whole big thing is her identity is now public, which, when you have a giant tail like that, I don't know how you can hide that very well. So what is the big surprise? Well, they have Erica Henderson come back to do this multiple page song that is apparently playing on the screens in Times Square, where it has a whole little song to it. I'm not even going to try and. It's kind of to the Spider-Man theme, and you have Brain Drain here with a little sign on his chest that's like an. Okay, it's basic. Okay, ha ha ha. No one deals in basic anymore and has it for 30 years. 10, stop doing crimes. 20, go to 10. Um, so are those his own instructions? Or is that what people are supposed to read his chest and it doesn't funny supposed to be funny, but it's not funny. And we get to she's still, going on, she knows how to code, she knows how to fight. Um and when danger show, she'll defend all that's right. What is going on in this panel here? She has her looks like velvety cup of coffee here, and is she getting a caffeine headache? Is she running into the wall? What is this? What is going on in this panel? Yeah, it's stupid. And it goes to the last page, which is, that's our Doreen Green, and, have everyone watching it, and you have basically the thank you to the audience. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not a New Yorker, but Times Square, isn't there only like one block that you can actually hear the screens? I mean, I could have thought the big Jumbotron, for example, I know the one that's around the corner there, doesn't have sound. And I think there's only, from what I've heard from my friends in New York City, I've only ever been to a few cities in New York, but not down in Times Square. That there's no sound in that. And there's only one area where there's sound. So I'm not sure why Tony Stark would be, I don't know, maybe this is the one block and she just happened to know to go there. Otherwise, if he's putting this on all the screens, no one's going to hear this. They're going to see it and not have any idea what this is about. Maybe it's closed caption. I don't know. Yeah, I read all these little stupid jokes down at the bottom, or these jokes, silly comments. But the thing I wanted to bring up is the writer, Ryan North. He says something up here that really caught my eye. This, as you hopefully already know, otherwise, sorry for breaking the news to you so abruptly, yeah, it's right on the cover, is the final issue of our run on Squirrel Girl, which includes 58 issues, 2 number 1s, 2 number 50s, if you count number 42 as our 50th issue celebration, which I definitely do, yeah, plus a graphic novel. All told, that's over 1,260 pages of unbeatable Squirrel Girl. And they do the binary, which of course I looked at that for a minute and I'm like, no, actually, yeah, that is Yeah, I can do binary in my head. So, yeah, that actually is, if you don't use an 8 base binary, that is. So he's correct on that. He used Google. Good job. Which we definitely are. Um, for a large percentage of you, that's the same number of pages you've read, shared, laughed, cried, and pumped your fist in the air and said yes. Probably not the same time, but maybe. It turns out that War and Peace is a mere 1,225 pages. So, okay, one, do not compare yourself to War and Peace. Do not compare yourself to War and Peace. One thing, War and Peace didn't have pictures. Secondly, it's actually good. It's considered a classic. This is not a classic. This is aimed at the preteen crowd. So, yeah, it goes on. Oh, here comes JR. It turns out, I read that already. Um, I'm saying is we did good. We're the longest running current book in the Marvel Universe. Books don't reach issue number 50 nowadays. This wasn't supposed to happen. That is the problem. That is the problem with Marvel Comics these days. It used to be no big deal to get to 50 issues. Yeah, it was kind of a struggle to get through that first year. After the first or second year, if you could get to issue 24, you could get higher up. Nowadays, you don't, and that's not because of, anything you're saying. This book only got to number 50 because they pushed it. You're telling me that if you had Amazing Spider-Man, you could easily go back to its original numbering. The only reason why that is not at an issue 50 right now is because they stopped at issue, what was it, 800 to do the Superior Spider-Man book. They renumbered it, and then after that went to Amazing Spider-Man number 1 again. That's the only reason why that book is not in the going on 900 at the moment. Was it 800, 700? I forget. No, this is not unheard of. This is not supposed to happen. What this is Marvel is really pushing the books like this, crap like this. That is the only reason why this got to issue number 50. Now, Squirrel Girl is a major push. She's in all the cartoons. Although for some reason now she's fat. I don't know why. I don't get that. I mean, it's hard to tell from this art because everyone looks bad. I mean, this is how I looked exactly reading this book. Just kind of one eyebrow slightly cocked going, huh, this is a thing that I'm doing. But, books these days with Marvel, they don't go to issue 50 because you won't let them. This is a book that should have been aimed at a younger audience. And I think about this when I was younger. When I was preteen and teen reading comics, I never thought about the teenage superheroes. I never wanted to be like them. I never looked up to them. I looked up to the adults. And that is the problem with a lot of these creators these days. They have this weird Tumblr mentality where everyone wants to be infantile. And I say this as someone that reads comic books. But they have this kind of weird worship. And I don't know if it's because of the whole YA market that became so popular in the past 15 years. Um, but you look at like Miles Morales, Squirrel Girl, I don't know if America really counts, but you have Ironheart. Who else? They have a whole bunch of characters that are all teenagers that they are pushing. Oh God, I almost forgot Miss Marvel. Um, in fact, she's even going to be like the focal character in that upcoming game, that upcoming Avengers game. They really want to push these characters as, look how hip we are with the kids. But people don't change. I don't think that kids are any different than, when I was a kid, than when my parents were a kid, and so on, going back. They look forward to the potential, to what they can grow up to be. They don't look at what they could be now. They look at what they could be. And I think that's where Marvel is missing it. So yeah, this shouldn't be aimed at teens. It should have been aimed at the I don't know what you call them, the single digit market, the preteens, the 10 and younger, I guess you would say. Um, and even then, I know when I was that age, I wasn't looking. Who was it? I wasn't looking at Shadowcat. Like, oh yeah, I could be like that character. Just a teenager, you know, in comics off the top of my head. No, I was looking at like Cap, or Iron Man. I was looking at the adults, and this weird, you know, infantile kind of state of modern Marvel, and I swear it comes from Tumblr. Because there's this weird obsession with, the acting like children, taking no responsibility that I see on Tumblr, but I'm blaming it on that. And that's the problem. I'm hoping that Marvel finally giving up on this book is kind of like a sign that, okay, maybe things are going to get better. But they're still going to push books with Squirrel Girl, with Miss Marvel, and that's okay. But if you're going to make books like this, you know, don't brag that you made it to 50 issues twice in 1 year. Don't brag that this should not have happened. No, this should have happened. A comic book that is popular, as you claim, even though this whole, what they say, hundreds of thousands of readers somewhere in here. It does say it's somewhere in here. Um, yeah, while others have literally learned how to read this book. Okay, fine. That just proves what I was saying. If you go to the previous page, to the letters page, you see a lot of, kids. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Aimed at kids, no problem. I am all for that, give the kids their hero. Don't make these characters the face. Don't keep pushing them in all the media. That's a little bit of a ranty thing here, but no, this book doesn't have 100,000 readers. This book is... I don't even really have to say much about it. Others have done it, better than I have. It was really this section here that really ticked me off because it shows that there's no self-awareness in the comics industry, and they wonder why this should not have happened. Yeah, you're right, this book should not have happened. Other comics should make it to issue 50 if they weren't constantly being rebooted back to number 1. This is me rubbing my chin, because if I actually rub my chin, you can't see me doing it, so this is me rubbing my chin in front of the camera. Explain the joke does not make it any funnier. Anyway, I'm hoping this means good things. We've been seeing, like I said, with Fallen Angels, we're starting to see some quality come back. Stop hiring from Tumblr, Marvel. Start spending a little bit of money to get competent artists. Because I'll be honest, I can't show the whole thing. This is bad. This is like a kid's book, and you're telling me aimed at a teen? Yeah, this character right here is the one that was in the Iron Man armor earlier. You may notice that she appears to have lipstick on, which, when you go back to here, let me get back to that page. Yeah, she does appear to have lipstick. She does have lips, but so does everyone. Okay, Craven doesn't, but... Oh, no, that's not Craven, that's Tony Stark. That's Craven. Yeah, that's how bad it is. If you took this outfit off of Craven, you could not tell the difference between the two characters. One has a slightly different goatee. I'm pretty sure that's a dude. I haven't quite figured out who's a guy and who's a girl in this book. But yeah. If the lipstick was colored, maybe you think it was a woman. And you wonder why your book got canceled. Yeah, you're right. This book should not have made it to issue 50. This was not supposed to happen. Other books should be at issue 50. But anyway, I'm done. I'm going to go and, I don't know, read some more about the Joker. I love that movie. That movie was so good. And, yeah, I'll probably do X-Men number 2 tomorrow. Got a couple more books I picked up this week, so still catching up. As always, thanks for being around. Thanks for sticking with me. I know I've been kind of away. Business trip, you know how it goes. So, as always, thanks for watching. Oh, wait, I didn't grade this book. I should be better about that. 6 o'clock, but it's canceled, so 12 o'clock. So, we'll give it a 3 average. Sound good? Sounds good to me. I'm gonna go finish off my wine and call it a night. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.